Greetings, young Padawans, and welcome to the Living with Idiots Life Day celebration. So this year for Christmas we decided to do something a little different, and I'm going to review the Faithfull Wookie, which is basically an animated cartoon that was in the infamous Star Wars Christmas special that was released in 1978, and part of that Christmas special there was a 9-minute cartoon in it. To be honest, the Christmas special itself is terrible. It is weird. There's some bizarre stuff going on with Wookiees, just awful, and it's never been officially released other than that one showing on CBS on American television in 1978. However, the 9-minute cartoon, The Faithful Wookie, which it has now become known as, that was released on Blu-ray in 2011 on the kind of Star Wars special editions, and it's also available since 2021 on Disney Plus. So I decided to review it, and it's quite interesting. This special was actually made by Nirvana, who were a Canadian animation company that started in 1971, and then by the time 1978 come along, they were actually becoming fairly famous, and George Lucas liked his work, and he asked them to basically make this 10-minute special, or sorry, 9-minute special, should I say. So it is quite cool. The animation, as saying, is very kind of sketchy and old for the time, but again, I kind of like it. It's almost like watching a kind of an animated comic book, and I loved the Star Wars comic books back in the day, so I think it's quite cool. Nirvana afterwards in 1985 and 1986 would actually make the Star Wars Droids cartoons and also the Star Wars Ewoks cartoons, which the Ewoks is very close to my heart because as a child I just really loved them. It's shocking to realise there was only 26 episodes of Ewoks and only 13 episodes of Droids, with also one special. I mean, in my mind, these things were going for years. But anyway, so Nirvana made a special. It is quite good. The other interesting about it is all the actors, you know, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and it's all the actual actors. So Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, James Earl Jones, Anthony Daniels, all of them come back and voice the characters. So in most cartoons, even if the characters appear, it isn't the real actors' voices. So that is the other cool thing about this special. So anyways, we are going to get into spoiler territory, and here we go. So if you have not seen this special episode, I suppose, go watch it now. It's 9 minutes of your life, but it's worth looking at. It's quite cool. Definitely because it was released after the original Star Wars film, but before The Empire Strikes Back, as saying it actually introduces Boba Fett, but it also has a bit more action than the actual Star Wars special, which again is just terrible and is just really bizarre. But whereas this cartoon has like a little bit of space battles and that. So how it starts off is basically, Luke Skywalker and his friends are basically on a kind of an asteroid base waiting for Han Solo and Chewbacca to come back from a mission looking for some mysterious talisman that can make stuff disappear, when suddenly the Millennium Falcon appears out of nowhere and flies right past their base. They're kind of wondering what the heck's going on. They tried contacting it. They managed to see Chewbacca flying the ship, but he's acting a bit strange, and Han Solo is hanging upside down in the background. Now, the first thing about the animation of this special, it is quite rough. It is interesting to look at, but it's a lot of pencil drawings with a kind of a bit of colour here or there. So some of the backgrounds are quite interesting, but again, it is cheap even for 1970s television standards. But I got to say, there was a lot of heart put into it, and when you watch it a few times and compare it to, say, The Empire Strikes Back, which comes after this, there is actually quite a lot that I'd say was taken from this special. In a lot of ways, it's almost a tester reel. They get to test out the Boba Fett suit before you even see it on like the actual big screen, you know, and to get to test out other ideas. So anyways, basically Luke Skywalker decides to fly a Y-Wing, which is really cool because you see the Y-Wings in the first movie, but Luke Skywalker never flies one, and he takes, was it R2-D2 and C-3PO him, and basically the actual fly out to get to the Millennium Falcon, but Chewbacca starts shooting at them. Now they realise that he's firing to warn them off, and they still can't get contact. And then Chewbacca crashes the ship into what they keep calling a water planet. Now it's more like a jello planet to me, because it's pink, and it's clearly, when the spaceship that crash into it, it's more like sticky substance than actually water. Anyway, so Luke Skywalker also ends up crashing on this water planet, and basically the first thing that happens is that this. Oh, actually, what's cool about the Millennium Falcon and the Y-Wings, they actually have these inflatable bags that actually pop out, which is quite cool, and again, innovated for the actual time, I think. But then this basically, it's a Diplodocus, or like some kind of water dinosaur, comes along and basically starts eating part of the spaceship. Again, what's really cool seeing the Y-Wing in this special is that it's able to separate out and escape from this big monster chewing up their spaceship. And then suddenly another monster comes along with a rider on it, and it's basically Boba Fett. Now his suit is quite different colour-wise, but it is Boba Fett, but he's really friendly in this one. Luke Skywalker obviously have never heard of him for some strange reason, because later on he's called the world's most famous bounty hunter. So and it looks like he's been hunting the rebellion for a long time, yet Luke Skywalker doesn't know. He talks to Luke Skywalker and immediately convinces him that he's a friend, and he basically helps them find Chewbacca. So when they find the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo is still tied up upside down, literally hanging upside down, and Chewbacca is destroying the talisman. Luke Skywalker keels over, and then R2-D2 detects there's like a contamination, and looks like this talisman was contaminated. I would love to have seen the story how all this worked out, because then Boba Fett says that it's a virus that basically the Empire use, and the city nearby has a cure for it. So apparently this military virus which the Empire use to incapacitate people, you can just buy the cure in like an open market. So basically Chewbacca kind of mistrusts Boba Fett. The two of them basically head off, was it towards this city, which is again quite cool. It's kind of like a big floating dome, garlicky bubble thing, quite weird looking. But anyways, and they have to climb up the shore chute basically, and again you get this kind of grander scale than what you could get in the movies. You actually see lots of different aliens with like two heads and that, and for a split second you're actually like, this is quite cool. You're watching a real Star Wars, movie right after after the original movie had been released, instead of having to wait 3 years to get The Empire Strikes Back. You were actually getting a quite interesting Star Wars story here. But then basically Boba Fett convinces Chewbacca to stay back, and he goes and buys the cure. But the other thing that happens is then he decides to ring up Darth Vader, because, surprise, surprise, Boba Fett's a bad guy and he's just trying to get to the rebel base. But because he does literally a direct phone call to Darth Vader back on the Millennium Falcon, R2-D2 and C-3PO are kind of wondering where they are. So R2-D2 just hacks into the ordinary communication lines, and up comes Darth Vader's head and Boba Fett's head, and he sees the whole conversation. So Boba Fett, being the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, just does a direct call, and the others see it straight away. So when Boba Fett goes back to Chewbacca, he's like, we have the cure, let's go. They're basically going there, and then the Empire puts on a bit of a show. They kind of send one small patrol ship after them to stop them. They're firing lasers. Boba Fett fires once, misses it. Chewbacca, in probably the coolest scene of it, takes the gun out of Boba Fett's hand. You can see Boba Fett is not happy, even though you can't see his face, just by the animation. You can see the stress. And then Chewbacca, he just takes one point at the patrol ship coming towards him, shoots, and boom, it blows up. Imperials fly everywhere. This is not like the A-Team. I think those guys were seriously hurt. Anyways, to get back to the actual Millennium Falcon, and Luke Skywalker's like, Boba Fett, you're a great friend. We're going to bring you back to our secret base, even though we've only met you for like 2 minutes. And Han Solo, who's now also revived when they actually give them the cure, and like Han Solo, whose animation is terrible, he's got this long drawn out kind of hearse face. It is really weird and does not do Harrison Ford any justice at all. Basically he's like just completely confused, and then basically C-3PO drops the bombshell that, oh, by the way, we've seen him communicating to the Empire. So Boba Fett walks backwards into the corridor, opens up the top hatch and flies out using his actual rockets, which is really cool because it's the first time that you actually get to see him use the rocket pack. You don't even get to see him do that in The Empire Strikes Back. And then basically that's the actual end of the cartoon. Just everyone, realizes that Chewbacca did not trust him and start laughing. So if you get a chance to watch it, do. It's 9 minutes. It is quite interesting, and I think it's very good. And hopefully during Christmas I might get to see more of the kind of 1980s cartoons done by Nelvana, and possibly we might see more reviews of droids or Ewoks in the future. And I hope you all have a fantastic holidays, whatever you celebrate, and you'll have a fantastic 2024. So from all of us at Camping with Idiots, happy Life Day.